with me? There we go. So, thank you very much for coming in. This is one of the things I get most excited about doing with my clients because honestly, I feel like I'm giving you all a cheat code. One of the things that I take a lot of pride in is not just preparing students for the college admissions process, but making sure they're as successful as possible when they get to college as well. So, setting up a really strong LinkedIn profile, I think, has giant ramifications, not just for this next year of work together, but well into college. So we're going to dive a little bit into that. The basic structure of this evening is that I'm going to present a little bit of information here at the beginning. As soon as I get there we go. Okay, so we're going to go through three sections: why this matters, how to create the profile, what our strategy is going to be. But then the bulk of this agenda is really dedicated towards working time. I'm a believer. I'm not going to teach the kids anything that they don't know about setting up things on the internet. So really, I just want to kind of get some of the high level stuff and then give everybody a chance to get to work with me here, able to help out and answer questions as we go. So the first thing that I really want to get into is, why does Warren get so excited about this? Why is this a big deal? I can't help but think that the first thing that I want when a college admissions officer is looking at my students and looking for them on Google or on social media, I would much rather they find a well-curated LinkedIn profile than an Instagram page or a TikTok account. I think that's one of the big things that really stands out to me. Working with college admissions people like I have, they're looking at a lot of strong candidates and they're looking for those little differences. And Google is right there for them as they do their searching and as they do their evaluating. So in addition to the college admissions aspect of this, setting up a LinkedIn profile at the beginning of senior year is a benefit for a variety of reasons. First of all, you really get to network and explore majors and careers that sound good now, but you don't know a lot about in actual practice. As we've talked about, you build that digital footprint, you start to connect, make friends, learn about organizations, and you also learn about scholarships and potential awards that are out there. Internships and research opportunities come across LinkedIn much more reliably than they do Facebook. Heavens, definitely Instagram. So really getting to network with professionals at their level. You also get to connect with colleges and professors before you even step on campus, getting to develop some of those real relationships that can build into something when you actually set foot on campus. Plus, you get a whole year of professional communication practice. It is a way to really refine your writing, professionalize your resume, and start to explore things in a meaningful, real-world way. And this is all done just in half an hour a week. Log on to LinkedIn for 30 minutes on a Sunday. Check out what's there, interact with things that look interesting, just kind of expose yourself to a different world that most high schoolers don't really avail themselves of. So one thing I do want to stress is that I love to have students, when we're working one-on-one, go ahead and Google yourself. Most likely the first thing that comes up is something that's going to be rather beyond your control, a random picture from your high school, a mention in a yearbook, something like that. Here, you begin to control your own narrative. If you develop a LinkedIn profile that becomes active and that becomes engaged with others, this is often going to be the first thing that is found. And this is where you get to curate that first impression that you're making. Again, I'll stress, yes, this is cool for the senior year of high school, but just imagine how great this looks when you step into college and all of a sudden you're looking for internships that are meaningful over the summer. You're looking to connect with professors that are in your major and that you need to get into their class in the future. You're able to keep an eye on scholarships because, believe it or not, there's more scholarships available for college students than there are for high school students. Then as you progress through college, obviously this becomes a great way to connect with future employers, really learn about your field before you step foot in it. It just becomes a way to really bulk up your resume in a way that is digital, findable, and easily accessible for those that are going to invest in your future. So what does this look like in practice? What should be on a student profile? Let me say right up front, what should be on your student profile is only as much as you are comfortable putting out there. There is no rush to put your full profile out there, especially if you're a little reticent about social media, as many of us are, very understandably. this really allows you to kind of pick and choose what you get to put out there. Even as something as simple as your professional photo, you can choose something that is not you. It can just represent your potential career, your future, your high school, whatever you want it to be. You don't necessarily even need to put your picture on your profile. So do not feel bad if you're not comfortable with this step. It doesn't make it any less important of a step. If you do want to put a photo on your LinkedIn profile, this is a great opportunity to start thinking about what your professional headshot will look like. That does not mean that I want you to go get $300 worth of pictures from some professional photographer. That's not what we're talking about here. Dress nicely, hand somebody you trust your phone, set on portrait mode, and really just have them play around with different lighting, different expressions, different outfits, maybe if you're fancy. But you really want to pick a picture that you're proud of, you will always be proud of, and that reflects you at your most professional. What you don't want to do is grab your favorite picture from Instagram or something that you have a lot of filters on, or anything that has been through the digital muck of, like Snapchat or Instagram or TikTok or anything like that. You really want to clearly differentiate your LinkedIn profile from any other social media. You want to make sure it looks very, very different. Again, this is something that can be changed very easily on your profile. You're not committing to anything heavily, but you do want to give a very positive first impression if you choose to put up a photo. So they're going to then ask you about the headline and the about section. I'm not going to read this whole slide to you. What I am going to do is just show you that there are formulas to this kind of stuff, things that you can fill in very easily. I'm going to share this deck with you. I've already shared. Let me see if it's in the chat already. Make sure it's there. There you go. In the chat, I just dropped a worksheet that you can use to help you while you're working a little bit later. But really, LinkedIn can be very formulaic, which can be a great thing because it makes it just easy to replicate, easy to change. You're not looking to tease an algorithm or figure out all the ins and outs that a lot of other social media can tempt you with. So this will become something that you're able to work on. I am more than happy to give you feedback on anything that you write before you publish it. You want to definitely put your best foot forward, reflect on your character and the direction that you're going in life. But again, there's really no wrong answer for this, as long as you're orienting yourself as a young professional. Okay. Then you're going to go ahead and fill in the education, activities, and experience. Now, this is where you probably want to get some parental help with it. This is why I love LinkedIn. In a few weeks here, we're going to be looking at the Common Application, and we have to figure out how to tell your whole life story, everything you've accomplished, all the amazing things that you've done in a very, very narrow amount of words. We have 650 words on your personal statement. We have 250 words on the average supplemental essay. We have about 150 characters for each of the activities that you've done. But the nice thing with this is that you can write about all the cool stuff that you did in high school. Just do a different post with different pictures and different descriptions for every cool thing that you've done, every project you've done, leadership you've had, passion projects you've done, volunteering you've done, cool awards that you won. You can put it all here with as much explanation as you want. And no one in college admissions is going to come by and tell you use too many words. It's much more likely that they're going to fall down the proverbial rabbit hole and really get excited about exploring all the things that you've done, because this is where you really get to unpack your achievements and brag on yourself a little bit. I know I'm working with a lot of you on bragging about yourself. This is an excellent place to practice it. You do not want to bring all of your humility to LinkedIn. If you need guidance on how to brag about yourself, I'm very good at it, and I'd be more than happy to instruct you. So again, anything you want to run by me before you post it on LinkedIn, I am really good at that. But use this as a writing exercise too. I want people to can find their own voice. With AI coming online, with students with high GPAs and great test scores, one of the unique things about you is your voice and your ability to talk about yourself and the things that you're passionate about in an engaging and compelling way. And this is tremendous real world practice at that. As somebody that has a clear and obvious love and bias towards writing, I would love to join you in the journey of, really making sure that your profile sings. So you're also going to be looking at skills that you can enter. There's a whole section in LinkedIn about where you can enter skills that you have accomplished or that you have earned throughout high school. On here, I have listed a few that would fit well with different professions. So, for those of you that are feeling very clear eyed about your major and what your profession will be, you can match up pretty well skills that will sound good for that profession. For those of you that haven't figured it out yet, that's great. You can pick and choose from all of these different skills and no skin off your nose. It looks great. It looks like you're well rounded. It looks like you're heading into college with the ability to be successful in a variety of contexts. And more, that's what it's looking like you need in our future. So if you have any questions about these skills that you have, if you need any further elaboration on them, I am going to give you all an AI prompt that you can use later. But the first thing that I would encourage you to do is talk to your parents. I say this all the time in our meetings that students in high school very rarely remember the things that they've done as clearly as their parents do. You all have no idea how proud your parents are of you, and they remember every single wonderful thing that you've done. And I can guarantee that there's no question they'd rather be asked than, Mom, Dad, brother, what do you see as skills that I have? What are some cool things I've done in high school that you think I should mention? I guarantee they've got a whole bunch on the top of their head and they've just been waiting for you to ask that question. All right, so let's talk a minute about privacy here and the strategy that we're going to use overall with this. There are really three levels to LinkedIn. So there's starting very privately, where you're building this page for yourself and a very small circle that you invite to participate with it. There's nothing wrong with this. I mean, this is something that you choose who you share it with. So it's not going to, anybody that doesn't have that link isn't going to be able to find you. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There are ways that we can tuck that into the common application, and a college admissions officer is more than savvy enough to find it and follow the breadcrumbs to what we want them to find. Then there's a more balanced approach where you have some tightness of your settings, where people just can't randomly find you. They need to be connected to you through other connections, other friends that you have on LinkedIn. This is where most of my clients settle in, so that it's not kind of just Wild West out there. Anybody can find them, because that's really not necessary at this stage. We know the circle that we want to keep. We know the people that we want to find us. We're going to be real clear-eyed about that later. Then as you evolve, though, as you get into college, as you start really racking up accomplishments and you want to start putting yourself out there for recruiters to find, you might want to shift your privacy more towards a public setting, so that people can find you. There are a lot of recruiters out there looking for great people. You are great people. Eventually, you'll want to decide that you're going to open up to find them, but there is absolutely no rush to do that. There's no hurry, in my opinion. Definitely, this is another one. Talk to your folks about, see what their experiences are. I would imagine most adults have a LinkedIn profile that they're somewhat active with. If not, definitely talk to somebody at school, a counselor or a teacher, just so you make sure that you're feeling comfortable with whatever level that you select. All right, so in the worksheet that I put in the chat, at the very end, I included a detailed AI prompt that you will be able to copy and paste after you complete it into ChatGPT or Claude, and it will spit out all kinds of organizations and professionals that you should consider following as you set up your LinkedIn profile. But the basic rule of thumb is just 555. 5 colleges that you're currently interested in. Feel free to do more. Nothing wrong with that. 5 organizations that align with things that you've done in the past. Like if you've done DECA, find DECA online. If you've volunteered at the Humane Society, find the Humane Society on LinkedIn. These are the organizations that will reflect well on your experiences in the past, but you can also look in the future, organizations that you might want to work for, be a part of, intern with, so that you become more and more familiar with who they are organizationally, what they're looking for, so that you can align your practices and your materials towards them when the time comes. Then the last is 5 professionals, 5 people that are seen as leaders in your field. These are generally going to be I don't want to use the word celebrities because they're not really celebrities, but they're going to be very well known within fields that you're interested in. People that will have tens of thousands of followers, and they're not going to be your buddies on LinkedIn, but they are going to give you insights into particular industries that you're interested in. They might be on the cutting edge of research or doing incredible things. And it's just kind of good to keep your finger on the pulse of what those kind of people are doing. So this is, again, not set in stone. These are general guidelines. You're going to get on there, play around, find what you're going to find. I would just, make sure that you're not connecting with anything that seems at all suspicious. Make sure that they have plenty of followers, that they're posting regularly, that they're, not posting anything that seems spammy on their walls. You don't want to wade into any of that. In my experience, LinkedIn is much less driven by spam, much less driven by scammers, but they're definitely out there. So you want to make sure that, again, you're being cautious. If you have any doubts at all, if anything smells a little fishy, either skip right by it. It's probably not going to matter in the long run, or run it by me or another adult that's, a little more savvy with these things. All right. So in that, let's just say that you set up your profile, you love it, looks great, your headshot's on point, all the things you've done in high school are on there. So what does it look like in your senior year? You all are busy enough. I picture something where you basically just spend half an hour a week, maybe 2 15-minute sessions, maybe just sit down for half an hour, and you really start to read posts carefully so that you get a sense of how they write, you get a sense of what commenters are saying, how they respond to them, and then feel free to jump in. Feel free to jump in with some really low stakes stuff, like congratulating people on achievements or asking questions that are genuine and things that you're curious about. Ask people for advice about how they got to the position that they did or how they found the career that they did. I have found a lot of times when younger people are looking to connect on LinkedIn, they get some of the best, most engaged responses out of anybody, because a lot of professionals really, really like extending a hand backwards and helping students get to where they're at. And that's really the kind of energy that we want to cultivate. But very carefully, things that you need to avoid. And this might take some training, because if you're very used to connecting with people on Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, those are very different languages than what you're going to encounter on LinkedIn. No shade to the other more social platforms, but you've really got to tighten up your language, and you can't bring that over to LinkedIn, or else people are definitely not going to take you seriously. So, few rules of thumb: stay away from any casual language or slang. People with gray in our hairs, we don't know what you're talking about a lot of the time, and LinkedIn ain't the place to have it explained. So that's not what we're there for. You also do not want to share any personal life details. No one on LinkedIn should be able to narrow down where you are. They should not be able to find any real identifying information about you outside of what, just a town and a high school. That's plenty. Even the high school, sometimes I if you're not comfortable leaving the high school or including the high school, I am fine about that. I would also encourage you to not get on there and start sharing your opinions. This is not the time to get into it in the comments section with somebody you disagree with. This is generally, LinkedIn's just a different vibe. It is not, argue in the comments section kind of vibe like a lot of social media. Comments are meant to build upon each other, ask questions, get answers, move discussions forward. It's not a time to really engage with trolls or, heaven forbid, act like a troll. So please make sure to not do that to yourself, because I'm sure you all have heard this a bajillion times, but the internet is forever. And LinkedIn, even more so. I mean, and these are people that you might want to hire you one day. So definitely kind of keep that in mind. When in doubt, ask an adult, ask somebody that's more experienced with it. You'll get the hang of it quick enough. This isn't overly complicated, but it is very different, and it does require some different thinking, less impulsiveness. You really want to think through anything that you're going to put down on LinkedIn. All right.